Good afternoon. My name is Mark Goodman. I represent Score Chicago. You're watching live interactive call-in TV here on Hotline 21. We're doing essentially two more shows, and then they're moving the studio on us, so we'll be off the air. Today I have Mike Kramer. Mike is an expert on business systems and business processes. Next week we're going to be doing a show around international business, importing, exporting, dealing with companies from outside the U.S. So I'm going to do a little bit of Score bookkeeping here. As I said, this is July 16th, and we're going to be talking about ManageHub. Some July events for Score is we're on CANTV, and if you want to see more of these shows, are on our YouTube channel at Score Chicago Video. I'd encourage you to check out the Score workshops, both in the city, where we ran a number of them relative to buying and selling QuickBooks, e-commerce, etc., and also our suburban programs. Why do people come to Score? They come to Score because they might want to start or buy a business. We help them with building their business plan for financing. We help them on strategic issues like growing a business or declining a business. So we have a strategic discussion here today. And we also help people with on the internet. You saw a number of the programs were essentially internet-based programs. This is a call-in show, so if you have questions relative to businesses and business processes and starting your business or scaling up, as Mike was talking about with us earlier, you can give us a call. The call number is 312-738-1060. Debbie over here is on the phone, and she'll talk to you and get your question put up. If you just want to ask a question and don't want to be on the air, you can give Debbie a call. She'll write it down and pass it over here. So, Mike, a little bit of opening up bookkeeping here for the show. You've been involved here with Score Chicago for a while. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a CPA by profession, but at my heart, I'm an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I started a small business at the ripe old age of 23 years old. Mm-hmm. Of all things, it was a pharmaceutical repackaging and distribution company.
Okay.
Licensed by the FDA.
Okay.
And I grew that business up. I sold it. And then I jumped into another ice cold pool of water called social enterprise.
Okay.
And so my latest innovation is ManageHub, which is social enterprise software specifically for small businesses, and the Accelerator.
Okay, so you have social... What did you say?
Social enterprise.
Social enterprise and an accelerator. So essentially what Mike does is he has a tool, and we'll have him talk a little bit more about this, that helps you organize your business, and is especially helpful to people who are in a growing business looking to scale it up. And we'll talk a little bit about scaling it up in a minute. Well, let's talk about scaling it up now, because that's really your interest in small business. Tell me a little bit about the challenge companies have when it comes to scaling up.
Typically, the way a small business starts is that the entrepreneur is only interested in one thing, and that is finding their secret sauce.
Okay.
So they will focus almost all of their energy and effort on finding that secret sauce, and and so once they find that secret sauce, what they'll do is they'll focus on accounting.
Okay, so what's an example of a secret sauce? Can you tell me about a company that you think found their secret sauce?
Well, secret sauce relates to marketing. Once they figure out how to drive people through the front door, they found their secret sauce.
Okay.
Now they'll start focusing on the other aspects of business, most notably accounting.
So what's an example of a company? Give me an example of a company that found their secret sauce.
Well, one that knows how to advertise their products and services on the radio, on social media.
Is there a company that the audience would know about that, from your point of view, says, wow, this company found their secret sauce?
Well, there are many of them. Just think of your local Main Street store that their bakery. They'll do tweets and tell you when they're having their sales, and
Okay, so one company that I think that we all kind of know about that has grown up in the last 10 or 15 years and finding their secret sauce in a very competitive situation is, a place like Portillo's.
Oh.
I mean, there's 100 hot dog stands in the Chicago area. But somebody like Portillo's found a way to essentially offer good food at a reasonable price with nice service, and the combination of all of it kind of turned into their secret sauce. But I think part of their secret sauce in their scaling up adventure was not only, having good food, because a lot of restaurants can have good food, but understanding how do I create an environment where it's attractive to my customers, at the same time it can be duplicated and scaled up.
Exactly. How do you duplicate and scale up?
So how do you duplicate and scale up? And you look at a place like Portillo's, which probably has 20 or 30 hot dog stands, as opposed to most hot dog stands, which is one stand. Okay.
But that one stand also has to figure out how to find its secret sauce.
Okay.
Until they find that secret sauce, they're not going to do anything else.
Okay. So what you're saying is that when you're starting a business, essentially the first thing to do is to figure out what's the customer attraction that's going to get people in the door.
Well, I'm saying that is the psychology of a small business owner.
Okay.
Because in their minds, there's no purpose to focus on anything else until they figure out that secret sauce. I'm not saying it's necessarily the best thing in the world for them. In fact, if they focused a little bit more on preparing for scaling up in the earlier stages, they would be ready to scale once they do find their secret sauce. Because what happens once they find that secret sauce, they're growing very fast. And now they have a problem in delivering consistent quality to everybody. So if they would have just done a little homework up front and creating that scalability, they would be able to grow much faster, and they would not suffer from what small businesses suffer from, growing and slowing pains.
Growing.
And I call it growing and slowing pains.
Growing and slowing pains. Okay, so Mike, you've developed a offering to business people, and people can actually engage in this offering through Score Chicago called ManageHub. What is ManageHub, and what makes it different than other small business tools?
Well, there are many very important business tools that every small business needs. You need your accounting tools, and you need your marketing tools. But there is really no management tools out there. So ManageHub is filling the management gap, where small businesses, they don't have the resources they need to start scaling. We make it easy for them to fit all the pieces together so that they'll be ready to scale when their business starts to grow.
Okay, so I have a business, and I naturally have accounting software, and I naturally have maybe some kind of CRM, some kind of management system. Obviously I have, email.
Oh, of course.
I have, which I'm communicating people with. And what you're saying is that those are systems that, businesses are going to naturally have.
Essential systems.
Okay.
Essential systems.
But then, you're saying that if I want my business to grow, that I need a management system. So,
yes, you need a management system.
So if you have a business and you're looking to grow your business, and you have a question on growing your business, you can, like I said, give us a call. It's 312-738-1060. But, Mike, you're talking about a system for people to use. So I'm still struggling a little bit here with the idea of a business management system. How does a business management system help me as a business owner be successful?
Okay, so then what happens, this natural progression, where they first start with the marketing systems, and then they move to the financial and accounting systems, and then naturally they start to add management-related systems like project management, knowledge management, some communication and collaboration tools. The problem is they don't create a management system, a management framework that integrates all those elements together that will allow them to grow.
So what would be an example of a project management tool that I would buy?
Well, many organizations will use Microsoft Project or Basecamp, or there's literally hundreds of project management tools out there. Some of them are free, some of them you have to pay a little bit each month, but they're all out there.
Okay. And so I have a project management tool, and then a knowledge management tool. What would a knowledge management tool be?
Well, it could be as simple as Dropbox, where you're simply creating documents and dropping them in your Google folder or Dropbox, where you're starting to gather all the knowledge and documentation related to your business. But the problem is all of these tools become what I call silos of capability.
Okay.
They don't work together. And in order to create scalability, all these tools have to work together, so you do two fundamental things. One is everybody involved in the organization has to start documenting their processes. And everybody in the organization needs to get involved reporting and resolving issues. So putting out the fires, reporting and resolving, putting out those fires once and forever.
So I think let me check something here. I want to look at our, am I moving here or not? Huh? Oh, there we are. All right, so let's put up the slide and maybe you can talk a little bit about it. So this is about ManageHub. Okay, so you're saying we want to use ManageHub to capture your process knowledge, so you don't worry if someone leaves suddenly. So how do I use ManageHub to capture my process knowledge?
Okay, so first what ManageHub does is it organizes your business into process teams. So everybody who performs a specific process will work together to capture that know-how related to the process. But within ManageHub itself, you're also then reporting and reporting the issues related to that process. So the specific people who are responsible for the knowledge are also responsible for updating the knowledge to make sure those fires are put out once and forever.
So what would be an example in, let's go back to Portillo's as a scaling company. What would be an example of a process team within a hot dog company?
Well, Portillo's is an excellent example. So is Apt. Every time you walk into a pristine business that has figured out how to scale, they have all these systems in place.
Okay.
When you go to a small business that's a little bit disorganized, a little bit dirty, and you're wondering, are they going to make it? They haven't figured this out yet. So what a Portillo's has is they've identified what their processes are.
So give me an example. So they've identified what their processes are. So I have a bunch of people who I'm paying in my company. Okay. And you have a tool that says identify that those people are in the process team. How do I know, who's in the process team for what? So the first thing that we do at the Accelerator is we do an inventory of all the organization's processes. Okay.
And then we identify who performs what process, and then we do an assessment of its health. Is it systematized, meaning is it automated? Is it standardized, meaning does it have step-by-step operating procedures that are replicable? And is it a bottleneck, meaning is that knowledge owned by just one person in the organization? If any of those areas are not optimized, there's a potential problem.
Okay.
And then what we also do is do an assessment for each process. So if you know that you have a customer complaint or a problem associated with that process, we'll ask you to identify it. Then we'll go through that list and we'll start prioritizing an improvement plan. What should we optimize first? And you start with the key processes related to the customer. So in Portillo's, it's going to be the person at the cashier who takes your order, the guy who makes the hot dog. If you get a bad hot dog, you're not going to come back. Well, that's not going to happen at Portillo's because they have quality control built in. So in the Accelerator, we teach small business owners what all these processes are about. And everything that we teach is based upon tried and true quality management practices. So there's nothing guru about what we teach through this ManageHub Accelerator. It's all about applying the same quality that a Portillo's will implement for your business.
So what Mike is saying is we take the example of a Portillo's, is you say you're going to start with the person who takes the order. You're going to look at essentially after the person takes the order, what happens when the order goes to somebody to prepare it. Okay, for the person to prepare it, the food has to be there. Who's in charge of getting the food there?
Exactly.
And then look at those relationships. So those are all those people are on my process team, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And then here's the beautiful thing. When it works right, those people on the front lines who are managing that process, they take ownership of the process. They become leaders in your organization. So the goal ultimately is that everybody become a leader in your organization, whether they're at the top of the organization's hierarchy or if they're in the front lines. That will teach them and prepare them to grow with a growing organization.
Okay. So how do I know if I have an employee, whether that employee is a leader or not?
How engaged they are.
So how do I know how engaged an employee is?
Okay.
I mean, we all have employees out there. we pay them to come to work. How do I know whether my employee is engaged or not?
That is a great question. First and foremost, the organization itself has to promote and support the idea of engagement. So you have to have coaching conversations and team meetings that encourage them to do the fundamental things they need to be engaged. And then it's a very simple thing. Are they sharing process knowledge? Are they sharing what they know? Are they actively reporting issues and problems and customer complaints? And are they actively helping to collaborate in resolving other people's complaints? And are they actively supporting the implementation of strategic plans? Because we know that the first thing that you get at SCORE, at SBDCs, prepare your business plan, right? Mm-hmm. How many of them are being implemented? So one person in the organization can't implement that plan. Everybody has to get involved in it.
So let me ask you a question. I have, using your ManageHub tool, I have a customer complaint. Mm-hmm. How does that customer complaint fit into using this ManageHub tool? How is it going to help?
Yeah.
Everybody gets customer complaints. How is getting that customer complaint within the context of your ManageHub tool going to make me a better business person?
Yeah. So this is so exciting to be able to answer this question because it really explains the whole process. So somebody gets a complaint, right? In the typical organization, there's no way for them to communicate that to anybody of authority and have it done and have action taken, right?
Okay.
With the ManageHub, everybody has a username and password. They log in, they log the issue, all right?
Okay.
It's logged with their name, so they get credit for it. Okay, that's the beautiful
So I get
thing.
credit for getting a customer complaint?
You get credit for reporting it.
Okay.
That's showing active engagement, and every employee is an extension of the owner. The owner has to know what the employees know. And if they don't know what the employees know, then they're losing value from that employee.
So a customer complaint comes in, and I get a credit for raising my hand and saying, aha, a customer came in with a complaint. You as the owner have a way to log in and say that Mark got a customer complaint.
It's even better than that.
Why do I want you to know that I got a customer complaint?
Well, it might not be that they're complaining about the employee doing something wrong. They might be complaining that the hot dog bun was soggy.
Okay.
So it could be as simple as that. It doesn't have to be that. And we're not laying blame about these complaints. Our only mission is to resolve these issues once and forever so that these fires are put out and customers are satisfied.
So what you're saying is that if employees are encouraged to make customer issues visible, and those issues can be documented and available to the management, it creates a process where, obviously, if you see one complaint rising to the top, this is something that needs to be addressed.
Yes, and then what ManageHub does is it alerts everybody associated with that complaint. So once the complaint is registered, it's registered to the process team who's responsible then to resolve it.
So theoretically, if I take the call and it's about a soggy bun, then that's visible to the bun buyer, and in some ways the soggy bun monkey is moved off of my back onto the buyer just by using your tool.
Well, hopefully not off your back, because the idea here is to engage everybody in
so let's say I'm sharing it now with the bun buyer.
Yes, exactly. And now everybody learns not to resist improvement, but to embrace it and to work together to resolve it.
All right, we have basically about 5 minutes left. Let's talk a little bit about the ManageHub Business Accelerator. So what is the ManageHub Business Accelerator, and why would I, as a small business person, be interested in participating?
Okay, so number one, I have to give SCORE credit because SCORE championed the ManageHub Accelerator. And to date, we've had 5 cohorts, and we've served over 250 Chicago area business owners. And we encourage everybody to get involved with SCORE and the ManageHub Accelerator.
All right, so you didn't ask my question.
I didn't answer your question, though.
What is the ManageHub Business Accelerator, and why would a small business person want to be interested in it?
Okay, I'll tell you right now. So the software will lend the structure, but the business owner and their teams need a little bit of direction in how to build out the system, all right? And we teach 4 fundamental things. First, we identify what their processes are and identify gaps. Then we teach them how to document their processes and step-by-step operating procedures. That's going to identify so many opportunities for improvement, saving money, making money, improving customer satisfaction. Then we teach them about strategy.
So let's go back. So
Okay.
what point were you making here that's going to be very valuable to me?
Well, just documenting your step-by-step operating procedures is going to eliminate some of the bottlenecks and the knowledge hoarding that occurs. So if somebody should leave your organization, that process knowledge is owned by the organization, and you can onboard somebody new without skipping a beat. What happens in most small businesses when people leave, it's a tremendous drag on their growth. It takes them months to recover. So using ManageHub and documenting your processes and engaging people in continuous improvement and in learning plans, because we teach you, everybody should always be learning, cross-training and learning everybody's processes. Then if somebody does leave, God forbid get sick, whatever, the organization can recover quickly. It's a flexible, nimble, scalable organization and valuable.
So if you have a company, what Mike is suggesting to you is that one of the things you want to do, and ManageHub helps you do this, is to document your processes. So what would be an example of a process that, if we want to go back to the hot dog stand, that a hot dog stand would document in ManageHub?
Well, every process.
Well, but give me an example of one process.
I'm going to give you an example of one. The cashier. How do you work the cash register? So now, if you have one person who's responsible for the cash register, and Betty gets sick, you'll know how to use the cash register. It's as simple as reading the step-by-step operating procedure and performing the function.
So who's responsible for documenting how the cash register works?
This is another fundamental and beautiful thing about the Accelerator, because we teach you to engage everybody to document their own work. So it shouldn't be done by a consultant. It should be done by the business employees themselves, and whoever is the knowledge owner of that process should be engaged to document their own process.
So I have to basically sign up my employees to ManageHub, and I have to have my employees go through the process of documenting what they do?
It's very, very critically important to the success and the health of the organization to do that.
So how much time does it take me as Betty, the cashier, to document how the cash register works?
Betty should be very familiar with how the cash register works, so it shouldn't take Betty very much time at all. But now the organization owns that knowledge, and if something, God forbid, happens to Betty, the organization will be able to recover very quickly.
So what is ManageHub and the ManageHub Accelerators relationship with SCORE?
So we all have the same goal, and that is to help established businesses become more sustainable and scalable. And a lot of effort is focused on helping startups start up. But what about the established businesses that are already in business and they're suffering from those growing and slowing pains?
Okay, so how is ManageHub and SCORE working together to help established businesses?
Well, you can contact SCORE and you can ask, how do I sign up for the ManageHub Accelerator program? And you'll get a link and you can fill out an application. And we accept startups, we accept established businesses. You could be a tech business, you could be in any field. Any brick and mortar business, any service related business, we want you to participate with us.
So what you're saying is that if I find this ManageHub concept of having a tool to help me document my processes, to help me organize my issues, to help me essentially move and scale my business, I would contact SCORE, and SCORE would work with me to, one, get signed up to the ManageHub tool, but at the same time, SCORE would work with me to actually use the various capabilities of the ManageHub tool.
That's right. And here's one very important thing to remember.
Okay.
Every successful business does these sorts of things that we're talking about today.
Okay, so if you want to be a successful business and you want to organize your processes and be able to scale, you should talk about ManageHub. You can find out about ManageHub from SCORE, and we're going to give you a little bit more information about SCORE. Let me turn to some SCORE slides here. So if you do want to find us at SCORE, we're on Twitter at SCORE Chicago. You can watch this show and other shows on our YouTube channel at SCORE Chicago Video. You can check out the SCORE website at scorechicago.org. You can visit SCORE once again, like I said, the website at scorechicago.org. Email us at email@scorechicago.org or give us a call at 312-353-7724. I wanted to thank Mike for being our guest. I think that we've explored just the tip of the iceberg relative to ManageHub. I would encourage you to talk to SCORE, and SCORE can help you really make ManageHub work for you. Like I said, next week we'll be doing international business. I think you'll find some fun with that, and we'll see you then.